Hello again, and welcome to Air Engine Research, where it's devoted to building a compressed air engine that can replace the engine in my Volkswagen car. Today's video is going to be a little bit longer than usual, so please bear with me, but I'm going to be talking about 4 or 5 different things and showing how things are made and done with the different parts that I'm working on. So if you get bored, at least kind of fast forward so that you can see the different areas that I'm covering. And I hope today's video will be informative and show you a little bit more about where I'm at with the overall project. So with that, why don't we go ahead and get started. Hi, I'm back in the shop today, and today I'm going to be working on my flow control regulator. I got to put all the fittings together and get that all organized. I want to make sure it don't leak, so I'm going to be putting Teflon tape on everything, at least something to help seal it. All takes time and effort. As I've showed before, this is the pressure tank. The high pressure will be coming from this side, coming into it. That's about straight. I'm hoping to be able to control the flow from 4,000 or 5,000 psi down to between 300 and 400 psi in the tank, which it could do if you don't have at least a pressure relief somewhere on it. I guess I could also get a pressure relief valve, adjustable one that you could go up to like 400. If it goes over 400, it would pop off. I don't know. Like I say, I'm not done with it yet, and there's still things that has to be worked out. Okay. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Now, this thing then fits on top of my bracket over here. there. This is a support that goes underneath here. That's where I am so far. But at least I know what the dimension has to be and all. So that's one good thing. I'm gonna have to put a stop on there too, so it doesn't go back so far. It stops somewhere up there maybe. That's good enough. It'll trigger it there. For those of you who's been following for a while, you know that I'm trying to build a compressed air engine that I can replace the engine in my VW car. I do have one finished, and I did do a trial run on it a few days ago, but I had trouble with the cylinders were leaking and the valves were leaking even worse. So I've taken the engine back out, brought it in my shop. I've gone through all the 6 cylinders and put new seals in those. But I know that I need to have different valves. So I have been in the process of remaking all 6 valves. I have the valve bodies done. I don't have the valve stems. These, I don't have all these yet, but that's just a few days. The main thing is I'm waiting on parts, springs, valves, and check valve, things like that I need also to have in order to make it run properly. And I want to replace the entire valve system, so I've remade the crankshaft that is on the crank that opens and closes the valves. These 2 rings that I just finished making, I still have to drill 6 holes in each one for the valve stems. They will go through and support the valve stems over here close to the cam. I've got some bearings ordered that will go on the outside of these parts of the cam, and they'll ride inside, and they'll be the part that pushes and opens the valves themselves. But for right now, I've been working on the pressure regulator flow control. I have to, there again, I'm waiting on parts for this also. It's a little bit complicated, but the idea is that the cylinder will close the valve when this pressure reaches a certain pressure. And then if the engine runs, it uses the air up, the pressure drops, so the cylinder opens back up to allow more air in to go to the engine and to the cylinder. And when it reaches the set pressure, it comes through, goes into the cylinder and pushes the valve shut. So it should, in theory, maintain the pressure and also allow complete flow of the air through the regulator. The problem I had is I do have a pressure regulator, but it will not allow enough air through to run the engine properly. So that's why I'm trying to make one that will control the pressure, but be free flow air through it with no restriction. I'll have to see how that goes, but for now, that's the progress that I'm working on. This little check valve that I'm making, I can probably buy some, but I've been spending enough money, so I decided that I'm going to make one myself. I drilled a hole. There's a tapered machine bolt that will fit down in the hole. And that will block air from coming back this way. But when you put air in this way, the little spring on the back of the bolt that's in there will open up and let air come in, and then that will close so that it can't come back out again. There's a reason for that, but it's too hard to explain right now. I'll try to explain it a little bit better. This is not the cylinder that I'm going to be using. It's going to be quite a bit bigger, but this will just show you what I'm talking about. Okay, the high pressure air is coming in on this port. The cylinder will be over here attached to the handle. Okay, this is a two-way cylinder, so air can come in here and it also can come in here. In here. But the way I'm going to be using it, it'll be attached to the handle of the valve and attached over here. And there will be air pressure from a main source come here, and I will set that pressure to maybe 200 psi. And that's what the little check valve is for. Once I put the 200 in here, the check valve closes, so it stays 200 on this side. Now there's a piston inside of the cylinder that goes back and forth and pushes and pulls that which would open and close. Open and close the valve. Right now the piston is over here. So if I put 200 psi in it, it'll push it over to there. So the piston's here. Right now the high pressure air can come through here and go into this main cylinder or tank. It would come out from the back of the tank and it can go to the motor, to the engine, and run the engine. when you're letting air through. Okay, as the air comes through, it also comes up and comes into this line, goes to the back side of the cylinder. So when the pressure that I put in here, say 200, coming out here is going to be like 500, 600, 700. I don't know what pressure I'm going to run there yet, but say 600 comes in here, comes out, comes through this tube, and it goes into the back end of the cylinder and starts pushing the cylinder against that 200. As soon as the air pressure on this side equals the air pressure on this side, the piston will be closed. So now I'm not sure what that pressure will be on this side based on what the pressure is on this side of the cylinder. But if the engine is running, that means the pressure will be always dropping. So this thing is always going to want to come open, and it may do something like that to keep the pressure. I don't know. I won't know until I actually try it. But that's the idea, is the pressure comes into here, comes into the back end of this, and tries to equal whatever pressure that I've had set here. And when it does, it closes. Now, if you stop running the engine, then the pressure in here will push the valve shut, and then nothing happens. As soon as if you shut that valve off, then this pressure then should go to, hopefully to 200, and just stay there, because that's what I put in here. You open this up, pressure drops, the engine runs, the thing opens so that the air can come back in and try to get back up to 200 again. And when it does, then it's supposed to close. Back and forth. I don't know if that helps explain to you how it works, but in a few days I should have the cylinder, and I'll be able to run tests on it and see. I think what I'll have to do is vary the pressure over here so that I end up, when it closes, that it gives me that 200. It might be 125 psi in here. It might be 250. I won't know yet until I try it. The way that I have been working with that regulator was with a spring that would stretch and then pull back. But that is not variable, for one thing. And I'm just afraid the spring pressure is too much. I don't want the thing to break. So we'll have to see how that works when I get the cylinder and actually attach it to my pressure flow regulator. Well, for today, I guess I'm going to go ahead and work on drilling these 6 holes. I'm going to finish making, and I've got to tap yet the other side and put a spring in it, put it together, and that'll be done. This is a 7,000 psi valve that I've got, which is going to be the main shutoff from the high pressure tank that will be coming to my pressure regulator. Everything after the pressure regulator will be like 2 to 300 psi. Everything before this valve is either 4 or 5,000 psi. So I have to be sure everything that I do is safe and that it's strong enough to withstand the pressures that it's going to be used to run the engine. I'm expecting to run the engine between 2 and 250 psi, possibly 300, depending on what I find when I actually run the vehicle in tests. So let's see. I guess that's it for this video. Thank you for checking in. And any new people would like to subscribe, please do, and check that little notification bell up to the side of the video. So until next time.